Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And we are back talking about college hoops, and I know it's been a minute since the last video. It's actually New Year's Eve was the last video that I put out in relation to college basketball. And man, if you've been following me over, well, if you followed that video, and if you also have been following me over on Twitter/X for our daily plays, we've been absolutely cooking. As you can see by our record on the season so far, this is the type of year that we are normally having. Last year was kind of an aberrational, sort of mediocre year, still ended profitable, but it ultimately wasn't something to write home about. And, you know, since over the last 2 weeks, since New Year's Eve, 33.86 units have been added to this season record, to our overall record. We are absolutely on fire, and you know, with a couple bets pending here on Tuesday, we actually are in line for another winning day. So let's go ahead and let's stay hot in this video. I'm excited to get into these picks, but first we're gonna go ahead and shout out a new sponsor to this channel, and that is gonna be ProfitX. And ProfitX, this is a great platform in terms of eliminating the thing that I think is the biggest scam in the sports betting space, that is VIG. You know, if you know what VIG is, you know exactly where I'm going with this, because everybody here, I think, hates betting on minus 120 or minus 115. Heck, even minus 110 odds eat into your profit margins over time. And if we can somehow eliminate that, or at least nullify that to an extent, I think the sports betting space would be a lot better. And this is a sports book and a platform that we can really weaponize and sort of nullify that annoying level of VIG. And I absolutely recommend adding this to the rotation. I recommend also having a number of different sports books, but down below, there's going to be a referral link for you guys. Highly recommend, again, adding this to your rotation, because I think this is one step forward in terms of kind of making the sports betting space a lot better. But with all that being said, y'all, I'm ready to hop into these picks. All right, first up, we are taking a look at an ACC matchup between Stanford and Wake Forest. It is a gross-looking matchup from an aesthetic standpoint and a regionality standpoint, but hey, you know, it's a conference game nowadays in the year 2025, and in this particular matchup, I think it's pretty indicative that this line is sitting at 7.5 when you do have a Stanford team that has been pretty impressive in conference play so far. And in terms of Wake Forest, you know, this is a game that when you have a team coming into your building from several time zones over, it's time to take advantage, and it's time to kind of assert yourselves, because I think you can when there is that little jet lag factor coming into play. And in this matchup, 7.5 is a perfect number. So let's go ahead and lay it for 2 units for our first bet here on Wednesday. For pick number 2, we are taking a look at that 7 p.m. Eastern time zone window, and we are looking at another game very similar to that last one, and this ACC game is going to be between Cal and North Carolina. And again, Cal is coming over from several time zones over. UNC is kind of desperate for a win right now, and they do have the talent to stomp teams like this, especially when they have that home court advantage on their side. And 13.5, I get it. A hefty number, and we're eating again that minus 120 VIG, but I say we go ahead and lay it for 4 units for our second bet here on Wednesday. For pick number 3, we're heading out to the Horizon League, where we have Purdue, Fort Wayne taking on Wright State, and this is a battle of brands when you're talking about the Horizon League, because both of these programs for quite some time have been on top of the league, and a lot of great head coaching history between these two programs as well. And this is another game that I think kind of takes the spotlight when it is being played within the conference. And looking at this matchup, I get it. Wright State is off to a slower start than usual this season. Obviously, they're going through a new head coaching switch as well. But when you're getting 1.5 points at home with this brand and a team that I do think is starting to find themselves, I'm all over it. So let's go ahead and take that 1.5 points here for 3 units for our third bet here on Wednesday. Pick number 4, we are heading out to the A10, where we have Duquesne taking on George Washington, and Duquesne is a team that obviously stole a lot of people's hearts during March last season, mine included. I was on that first round upset in a major way, and when you're looking at this start to the season that they've had under a new head coach, it's been a very, very slow start. And I will say, as of late, they have absolutely turned a corner. Last time out, they beat a really great St. Joe's team that I think is one of the best teams in the A10, and now they're playing another team that I think is one of the better teams in the A10 in George Washington. But even with how good George Washington is, this is a really tough number to lay against a team that I think is hitting their stride. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and take Duquesne here, getting the 5 points for 2 units for our 4th bet here on Wednesday. For pick number 5, we're heading out to the game of the night between Kansas and Iowa State, and this game is being played inside Hilton Coliseum. And if you guys are familiar with college hoops, you know that this is the venue. This is one of those venues that every single time you're going into that building, you feel it. It affects the play on the court, and Iowa State over the years has been absolutely dominant within this building, and Kansas is no stranger to these tough moments and these tough environments. Heck, if you play in the Big 12, you're going to see enough of them, but I don't care. I think Iowa State is going to be able to win this game. I think they're arguably the best team in all of college basketball right now, and laying 5.5 points, I think is a bargain based on the name of Kansas. So let's go ahead and lay those 5.5 points here for 3 units for our 5th bet here on Wednesday. For pick number 6, we are heading out to the land of Knoxville, Tennessee, where we have the Tennessee Volunteers taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. And I do think that Georgia is a good basketball team this year under Mike White. I think they're probably going to be tourney bound as well. It's just been a great season and a really big up for the program. But last week, Tennessee suffered their first loss on the road against Florida. And man, they couldn't get a shot to drop. And then they also went to Texas the next game out on the road in Austin. And finally, they are back on their home court. And this is a number that I think is pretty indicative of what's about to happen, because I do think this is a take your frustration out on the opposing team type of spot. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and lay those 11 points here with the Vols for 3 units for our 6th play here on Wednesday. For pick number 7, we are heading out to the A10 yet again, where we have Rhode Island taking on Loyola Chicago. And Loyola has kind of been an up and down team this year, and a lot of that has to do with their injuries and availability of their best players. And in this matchup, they are starting to get healthy again. And Rhode Island, I get it. They have a glossy record. They're coming into this building feeling confident, having a good season. But at the same time, I do feel like Loyola Chicago and this A10 schedule, especially when Rhode Island has to go on the road, is going to be able to kind of murky up that glossy looking record, if you will. So let's go ahead and lay that 4.5 points here with the Ramblers for 3 units for our second to last bet here on Wednesday. For our final bet here on Wednesday, we are heading out to Las Vegas, where we have the Utah State Aggies taking on UNLV. And Utah State, they're having a dream season right now. It's a great season for Jared Calhoun and just his coaching prospects moving forward. I mean, he made the jump from Youngstown State to a program that's in the Mountain West, and he is absolutely dominated. And they've gone on the road and even beat some quality teams as well, which is really hard to do in this conference. Now, they're going on the road again, and I do feel like laying 5.5 points on the road against a team like UNLV is starting to get a little bit steep. So let's go ahead and take those 5.5 points here, and again, eat that minus 120 juice. Again, ProfitX, referral link in the description box below. I highly recommend adding that to your rotation, but let's go ahead and take that 5.5 points here for 4 units for our final bet here on Wednesday. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video, and honestly, I want to thank you guys for showing love on all of these videos. I know this is the first video of 2025, That fact is not lost on me, and I do apologize. I'm going to try to step up the uploading frequency, but at the same time, make sure you are following me over on Twitter/X at RobDFB, because every single day, if I don't have a video on here, there's a post on there with all of our bets. But with all that being said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.